Have you ever thought of an idea for a video game that seemed impossible to create? Something that not even triple or even quadruple A developers could manage to build? Something that could only be made if you had unlimited money and resources to develop it and didn't really care about making that money back? Well, that's what I'm going to be talking about today. Specifically, I'm going to go on a yap session about my dream video game. A game that I would love to see made, though I think, realistically, couldn't. Basically, I'm thinking it would be a fast-paced MMORPG looter shooter with an open world, PvE, raids, esports-ready PvP, an extraction mode, a battle royale mode, deep character customization, cosmetics out the ass, the ability to switch between third and first-person views depending on the game mode, a housing system, guilds, guild versus guild battles, Discord integration, custom games, a photo mode. Right off the bat, you can see how a game like this just couldn't be made because it's like 5 or 6 games in one. You got Destiny, Fortnite, Final Fantasy XIV, Escape from Tarkov, Halo, fucking VR chat as one game. But I'm going to kind of expound upon how each part of this theoretical game could work. For the setting and story, I'm not going to go really deep into that just because I think these things are not really integral to the gameplay. It just should be good. It's, again, let's just assume the story is it's amazing, it's perfect. Okay, though I will say I think a sci-fi setting would work best for this since it would allow for a lot more artistic freedom, especially when it comes to the cosmetics. So let's start there. When I say deep character customization, I mean deep, okay? Like almost no limits, except for some body proportion stuff so you can't make a character 100 feet tall or... No, I don't want characters clipping in the shit, necessarily. You'd have several different fantasy races like elves, orcs, dwarves, and of course you can make a furry character, okay? With all kinds of species there, okay? You know, your cats, your dogs, your wolves, lizards, maybe dragons, pumas. There'd be loads of hairstyles. There could even maybe be a system where you could actually style your character's hair in chunks like strands. You'd be able to change any part of clothing or armor into any color, okay? You wouldn't need to be forced into preset colors or anything. You won't have to buy dyes or anything, though. On the preset colors, they would be there if you want to use those instead if you're not, creative. I think the only limit I'd impose on clothing/armor is that some of them would have to be earned in certain modes or be unlocked through certain achievements. That way you could kind of show off, you can display what you've earned through playing the game. There would of course be a transmog system where you'd be able to change the appearance of a piece of gear, but not its stats, though you'd only be able to change the appearance of the piece of gear to a different piece of gear you've collected before. For example, you have this chest piece, and you want to change it to look like this. Well, you'd have to have looted this item before to be able to change the armor to look like this. I like this because then you can slowly build your wardrobe over time, essentially. Though you would ideally start off with a few basic sets to look decent, so you don't look like a dweeb level 1. And there'd be a way to turn off other players' cosmetics if you'd like. There's different settings for that. So then what about the gameplay? Like I said at the start, this would be a looter shooter, so think of the baseline for the gameplay to be similar to Destiny, but like without the bullshit. There'd be an open world that you can traverse, talk to NPCs, questing, meeting other players, etc, etc. The PvE I think would also play similarly to Destiny's, though I would like to think that the AI would be a little bit better, a little more advanced. Maybe not at the start, but definitely in the later stages of the game. There'd of course be raids as well, where you'd group up with friends and stuff, though I'm not sure what grouping up with friends is like, so... For the PvP side of things, there'd be plenty of different game modes, your team deathmatch, your king of the hill, bombs, an extraction mode similar to Escape from Tarkov, where you're put on a map and have to find loot while there's other players and AI opponents to deal with, and if you die, you get nothing. I think the payout on that mode would have to be amazing to kind of balance that out though, so it doesn't entirely feel like you wasted your time, like if you just kept dying over and over. And of course a battle royale mode, because those are just kind of mandatory now, I guess, in any game. If your game doesn't have battle royale, you're of course all of these modes would give you loot or experience that's about equal to playing PvE. That way players like me that are more into PvP won't feel like they're behind just because they aren't that interested in the PvE aspect of the game. Anyway, there would be a way to play either only first or third person view to keep things fair. Of course in some modes you can swap between the two depending on how you feel, depending on if you want to, check out your character's app while you're killing or not. And speaking of keeping things fair, there would be a sort of casual queue and ranked queue for each of these modes, in the PvP modes, I mean. and casual player models' appearance wouldn't be too restricted, like their sizing and apparel, with the player's hitbox being highlighted so as to not cause confusion on what parts of the body would count as hits, as shown here, kind of. All gear score would be standardized, that way the only way to succeed is with better skill, not necessarily better gear. And in ranked, all players' size would be equalized, maybe some cosmetics would be restricted so bits of clothing wouldn't stick out from cover or something, though I think the character highlighting would still be there just for visual clarity's sake. There could also be a separation for ranked, specifically where gear score wouldn't be standardized, similar to how Destiny's Trials of Osiris was. For the gear itself, again, it'd be similar to how Destiny's gear system worked.
Can you tell I played a lot of Destiny?
You'd have 3 weapon slots, some armor slots, maybe like a slot for a utility kind of item. Everyone would be able to select abilities from the same list, so there's no class-specific abilities or anything. Like say, for example, your team is lacking in some area like healing. Well, you'd be able to easily respec your character so you can be the healer. Again, a huge aspect of this game would be its customization, not only for your character's appearance, but for your playstyle as well. There would of course be guilds, so you can get your group of friends together to do activities, get bonus items and cosmetics through that. There'd be guild versus guild activities as well. Like for example, if the guilds are large enough, you could have like a battlefield style of match where there's like 62 players or something. Maybe even more, I don't know. There'd also be a housing system where you'd be able to customize your living space. This, I think, would be mostly for fun. Like, imagine having all your buddies over at your virtual house while you're all chatting over Discord, which ideally would be integrated into the game so you wouldn't have to constantly tab out of it. I want everything to be in the game. So we have like a dozen game modes. So I think we should also include a sort of loadout system where you can equip whatever gear you want, save it, label it, and then you can equip that set almost whenever you want. We could do this for outfits as well, because maybe in one mode you want to dress like Rosalina, and the other you want to dress up like a minion. Players should also be able to trade with each other, but here's how I think that should work in this game. There'd be no trading of an in-game currency. Players can only trade weapons and gear between each other, and only if they're in the same kind of level range, and maybe a restriction on weapons or gear that can only be obtained through a difficult or unique encounter. For example, something that, according to the game's lore, would be extremely rare. That way, players that complete these difficult encounters or challenges will still be able to flaunt their achievement. Sorry I'm bringing up Destiny again, but in Destiny, I hated the fact you couldn't trade with other players because, lore-wise, that didn't make sense to me. Like, you're all trying to defend the city or whatever why wouldn't you trade weapons and gear between each other? Anyway, I think there should also be a way to create custom matches and levels similar to Halo's Forge mode for both PvP and PvE, though I think for balance reasons they wouldn't offer any rewards or experience. These modes would purely be for fun, creativity, and probably esports. Like, I'd want to be able to play Dust 2, Blood Gulch, and 2 Fort. Finally, there'd be a photography mode, of course, so you can take screenshots and videos of your perfectly crafted waifu, husbando, or disgusting abomination. Maybe even include a VR mode similar to VR chat, where you'd be able to control your custom-made character and hang out in your custom-made house. I don't think it'd be fair to let VR players do anything more than that, but I don't know. This has already gone long enough. Just kidding, one more thing, and I think this would go without saying, but it'd have amazing anti-cheat. No kernel level bullshit either, like it'd just be good. Okay, basically no cheaters ever exists in this game, okay? I think that about covers everything. There may be some small details I'm missing, but that's about the general idea. Is this a game you'd love to play one day? Are there any flaws you foresee with this idea or anything else you'd add to it? Do you have your own idea for a dream game? Let me know in the comments below. And please like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.